What's up, I'm Tyler Casey, and today I'm here with Donovan from Hoppa Films. Today we're going to be testing out the GH5 and the GH5S and comparing the two. We're going to be testing the image stabilization and the low light of both cameras and comparing them. At the end, I'm going to make a conclusion and say which camera is better for which scenario. So yeah, let's get it.
Do it.
So this is the GH5S, standard 4K, 24 frames per second. Looks pretty good and crispy. And then we have the GH5 regular, and this one looked a little unsaturated, so I threw a little bit of color correction on it. And yeah, you could really see right there the crop difference in between the two cameras. Here I'm punched in a little bit so you can see the difference of color. I really like the way the GH5S looks like on this one, even with the color correction on the GH5. It's really up to you though. Let me know what you think. Here I just wanted to check, we shot on standard again, and I just wanted to see what a person looked like on the actual screen. So you can really see the skin tones here. I think the GH5 has a lot darker blacks, so it's a little bit more contrasty, and I like the way it looks in standard. Next up is Slowmotion. This is the GH5S Cine D. We're punching to 35, and this is 180 frames per second. And then here I throw a LUT on just to kind of add some color grading. I have my LUTs that I use linked below if you guys want to check those out. And then here's the GH5 Cine D 12 to 35 180 FPS as well. So you could definitely see the crop difference. You see like why my head's cut off, because originally we were framed pretty much the same. Here's side by side comparison. They look pretty similar. When you crop in, you can kind of see the GH5S looks a little bit cleaner. So yeah, let me know what you guys think below, but I do think the blacks definitely on my sweatshirt look a lot better on the GH5S. I think this also has to do with something that the GH5S can do, 240 frames per second. So here's the 240 on the GH5S. We are cropped in a lot more here. So we're still at 35, but when you do 240 frames per second, you're cropped in a lot. And you can see how slow it is. Like the people in the background don't even look like they're moving. And then here's the regular GH5, still at 180. We have the regular crop on the GH5, and then there it is with the LUT. And then we're gonna do the punch in right here. So there's the side by side. You can see how slow the 240 really is. And then here's the crop in. I think the GH5 looks a little bit better, but also the GH5S is filming at 240 frames per second. So that's a lot slower. I think at 180, the S looked a lot better. Here's a 60 frame per second test at 4K. I think both cameras look pretty much the same here. Right now I'm about to do the image stabilization test. So this lens, we're both gonna use the 12 to 35. We both have the Model 1 version. This does not have internal body stabilization. The GH5 does, so you're getting both. You're getting the lens and the body. This, you're just getting the lens. So we're gonna test that. So that's the GH5S with the 12 to 35. There's a little bit of shake in here. If I had some type of stabilizer or like a shoulder rig, it would have done a lot better. Here's the GH5. I was actually able to do all sorts of tilts and pans with this, and it's super locked on. Here's the S at a walking shot. It's actually not too bad. It's a little bit shaky, but I was kind of tripping over the sand and whatnot, but there's some usable footage, and you could always use warp stabilizer. Here's the GH5. You can see how much better it is at image stabilization with the internal body. So yeah, you could really see how smooth this is, and it really takes out the wobble. And then we can see the tilt up right here. Yeah, that was super smooth. So here I did the 18 to 35, and this is really shaky. You can see the little micro jitters in my hand. And then here it is on the GH5. It's pretty much locked off almost. It looks beautiful. So here's the ISO test. 800 ISO, the GH5 and GH5S look pretty great at 800. At 1600, we already see the GH5 already starting to fall apart. The GH5S looks great. 3200, I probably would not use the GH5 past 3200. GH5S looks great. At 4000, the GH5 is not looking too good, and then the GH5S is still holding its own. I actually shot the S footage in 1080 accidentally, so when I'm cropping in, it's also reducing the quality a little bit compared to the 4K. So the GH5S is holding up very well, even at 5,000, where the GH5, you definitely probably couldn't even fix that in neat video. Here's 6400. This is usually, I hear, like the sweet spot for the GH5S, where people don't want to go any further. 8,000, the GH5S still looks usable, and the GH5 continues to fall apart further and further. Here's 10,000. We're gonna punch in here, so yeah, you can really see the difference right there. And then 12,800. There's the main comparison right there. So I'm gonna make another video talking about why I chose the GH5S to make the switch, and kind of talk about some ways I like to use it. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments about this video below. I usually don't do videos like this, but I had access to both cameras, so I thought might as well compare them and why I made the switch. So make sure to subscribe so you can see that next video and hit the bell notification. Check me out on Instagram at Tyler Casey Prod. I'm Tyler Casey, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.